because I used my anointed imagination. An old tree, it blessed me because I thought about the fact that there was some person with a neck issue who is watching this press conference. The neck is red. That's the issue. And they were guilty of profiling Barack Obama back in the day. And what they did not know, they were profiling someone God was about to promote. I got to shout you right quick. Be careful how you treat me, because you don't know where God is taking me. God raised him up in the face of those who were trying to tear him down. But hold on, Mr. President, as he talked about profiling. Y'all recall what he said? The president talked about profiling as it relates to those who walk by doors and the car doors are shut or are locked or click locked at the passing of a black man. He talked about being followed in a department store or being on an elevator and a woman clutching her purse. Let's take it deeper, Mr. President, because we're talking about 21st century profiling. Profiling occurs when a brother shows up to get a job, and because of the color of his skin, he is written off of the possibility of getting that job. Have you thought about the fact that the unemployment rate for black men remains at depression levels? It's not because brothers aren't qualified. It's because brothers are profiled in order to be persecuted. I'm not even done, because he talked about women clutching their purse. I ain't talking about clutching your purse. Keep your purse. I'm talking about the good old boy network that clutches procurement opportunities and precludes a brother trying to open up a business from having an opportunity to get funding, financing, and contract opportunities. I'm talking about profiling 21st century style. If you don't believe in profiling, go to some of our classrooms in our nation's public schools, and you'll discover our young kids, especially our young boys, are being labeled to be limited. They're being profiled to be persecuted. And my brothers and sisters, I'm simply trying to say all of that will make you bitter. It'll make you angry. It'll make you mad. But in the language of Tupac Shakur, if you know God for yourself, God can elevate you above the hate that comes at you, and you reach a point where you say, come on at me. I ain't mad at you. I've been delivered from the danger of anger. Now come here to our text and check out how awesome the piece is, because in our text, by way of context, the people of God have just experienced the miraculous emancipation and extrication from enslavement in Egypt. And the book lets us know, upon being extricated from Egypt, that Pharaoh followed them. God had blessed Moses and used Moses to tell Pharaoh, let God's people go. And then they get down to what tradition calls the Red Sea. And the Bible says there at the sea, the people say, uh-oh, we in trouble. Moses said, no, stand still. God said no to all of y'all. God said no to all of y'all and said, Moses, stretch forth your rod. What's in your hand? I could stop and preach that right there, because maybe that's what God is saying to us in the 21st century. What's in your hand? Use what you've got. You know what you have in your hand. It ought to be a voter registration card. You know what you have in your hand. You have possibilities of making a difference with the power of your hand. He stretches forth his rod, and the book says the waters part. When the waters part, they crossed over on dry ground, but the chariot wheels of the Egyptians got stuck in the mud. Okay, I'm talking too fast because y'all missed a shout bomb right there. They cross on dry ground. Egyptians follow them, pursue them, and the book says their wheels got stuck in the mud. Because if God has something for you, I don't care who's after you, they can't have what God has for you. And what is dry ground for you will be mud to them. And the Bible says they cross over on dry ground, and as soon as they do, they break out and they have a praise party. During the praise party, they decide to give God some shout outs. You know what shout outs are, or don't you? Shout outs simply mean you got to say the name of the ones responsible for you being where you are. And every now and then, when you see me in church, I'm giving God a shout out, and I got to call his name because I'm calling calling the name of the one who's responsible for me being where I am. So I hope you don't mind if I take just a quick second and give God a shout out. Shout out Yahweh. Shout out Elohim. Shout out El Elyon. Shout out El Shaddai. Shout out Jehovah Jireh. Shout out Adonai. Shout out Jehovah Nisi. Shout out Jehovah Shalom. I guess I ain't got to your name yet. Shout out Heart Fixer, Mind Regulator, Burden Bearer, Heavy Load Sharer. Anybody want to give God a shout out? Because if it had not been for the Lord on your side, where would you be?
Friendship West Baptist Church. Come experience